Hey guys, welcome to Base Wars Qualifier number 6. This is the finals between two teammates who apparently knew they were both getting to the finals. A little bit cocky, I'd say. As you can see, they have BM in their clan tags. Gaker versus Jim Gay. We're going to get right on into it. Here on the top left-hand side of Heavy Rain Ladder Edition, our blues are Gimmick Ferguson, representing Chaos, Latin Gamers, an ultimate threat in Latin America as displayed by JimRising, Maker, Don't Panic, and many others of their team that have competed in this league. It's the blues are Gimmick Ferguson, JimRising.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right-hand side of the map. Heavy Rain with the orange Terran player. He is going to be Maker.
All right, so it looks like it's going to be a Reaper expand here for Maker. This is a really popular build. Ravi, do you want to get into the details of that?
Yeah, the Reaper expand is just something, the most standard type of build that you see in this matchup, and it's really nice because you get up that early Reaper, you kind of get to put on a little bit of pressure on your opponent. You kind of keep them honest. You get to see, okay, you're not trying to cut any corners, right? You're not trying to go for gasless. Maybe you pick off a drone if you're lucky. Maybe you pick off a couple of Zerglings. That generally does happen. And what's always really interesting is that there are some variations on when you stop the Reaper production. I've seen some players just stop at one Reaper. They just kind of want to get the scout off, get a little bit of damage done, maybe force off a little bit of mining time. But some players do like to go for the second Reaper, and I think that I really do prefer that style because it allows you to be a lot more aggressive and allows you to pick off a lot more Zerglings and forces the Zerg player to make a much bigger reaction. So we'll have to wait and see which one Maker decides to do.
Yeah, I found that one queen beats one Reaper, two Reapers beat one queen, but two queens beat one Reaper. So when you go for that second Reaper, you basically extend your harassment time till 5.5 to 6 minutes. And if your opponent chooses to delay a queen for a quicker expand, you can really punish him for that, as he does not have creep connecting his bases. And it's really off creep that the Reaper shines. Lings on creep can push the Reaper back. Queens on creep, obviously going to push the Reaper back. But it's the potential for kiting, as you see right here, that's going to make Maker's Reaper the most powerful unit in the game at this point.
It really is, and you can see that JimRising is just trying to buy as much time as possible so that he really doesn't take too much damage from this. Because, I mean, as soon as you take a little bit too much damage from this, the Reapers have totally paid off. The Terran player probably has like a third command center already coming up or something, and you're just in so much trouble. And this is exactly what you're talking about, Shaft, where that queen is just taking so much damage from those Reapers, and I have to say, Maker is microing this out perfectly.
And his timing on the second Reaper was impeccable. And in fact, this is going to extend past 5.5 minutes, as that second queen is only halfway done.
Can you get the queen?
Yeah, he will. He's cleaned out the drone, or the lings, so it's either going to be drones or queens.
Oh man, the drones are trying to come off. They're trying to defend that queen. He needs that queen for larva injects. He doesn't want to be put behind. But now he's losing drones. The Reapers are also regenerating their health, and they go after that queen. They get it. And oh man, Maker, with just the two Reapers opening up, doing way more damage than actually a Terran player normally does in this situation.
Exactly. 3 drones, 4 lings, 1 queen, without losing a single mineral.
And he still hasn't lost his Reapers. He's getting actually cornered a little bit, but he's still doing some damage. Oh man, a nice little pick off over there from JimRising, finally cleaning up. But I mean, you can already see JimRising, he does not want to deal with that kind of economic deficit in this game. He doesn't want to move into the game like that. He's throwing down the Roach Warren. You know what's coming out, Shaft? I'm pretty sure he's going to be a little bit aggressive very soon.
Well, I'd like to see it, but I honestly don't think he viably can. I believe the Roaches are going to be to zone out the Hellion, as he knows the Hellions are coming in. This map is so wide that the Hellions can easily get up that ramp, and if he tries to spend too much on structures, he won't be able to get the drone count up as high as he'd like. So the Roaches are going to be a low larva count way for him to defend against Hellions.
You know, that is a really interesting point. I'm actually really kind of wondering whether he's going to be aggressive or defensive with this, because
I lied.
often,
13
yeah,
bases.
yeah. The reason why I think that he is going to be aggressive is because normally if a player wants to be a bit more defensive and just use the roaches, they'll go for those kind of evolution chamber walls and they'll throw down the roach warren at their natural expansion because they're not afraid to hide it. They're just saying, well, I'm getting the roaches. What are you going to do about it? Well, this is going to come out with an enormous number of roaches. Maker now sees it with the Hellions, but is he actually going to be able to throw up enough bunkers and be prepared for this? I don't know, Shaft. What do you think?
He has a cloaked Banshee, so I don't think it's going to matter at all. Banshee versus roaches don't stand a chance. They take so much damage from the Banshee shots. And here's the Banshee. But the Banshee's going to run past, going completely offensive. Hellions, of course, in the natural, burning these Lings. But the Lings get a great surround. And that will be the death of the Hellions. In fact, that is huge. JimRising may be able to come back with this attack. The Hellions were really what we're going to hold these Lings back. There's nothing left to do that. Widowmines, of course, just taking a couple of the roaches out. But now the Widowmines have been expended. This is it. This is the big battle, Robbie.
Layers morphing it, but it is not finished. Sporecall is trying to go up and just try and stop that Banshee, but the Queen has already fallen. The Roaches and the Zorgons have to do an enormous amount of damage over here, but it looks like their numbers are actually high enough to do so. They're taking out the SCVs. Marauder coming out. The Banshee at home trying to clean up as fast as possible. The Banshee on the other side of the map trying to do as much damage as possible, but who is going to come out on top? The Zerglings are continuing to stream in, and I don't know, Shaft, this is going to be really close. The Widowmines coming into the main base. Can they defend this?
Well, the Banshee has been pushed back by JimRising, so Maker has lost everything. JimRising still has 20 workers left. Maker did great early in this game, but in this late game scenario, JimRising looks like he has succeeded in taking a victory.
Oh my god, this is actually a really, really sick play over here from JimRising. Cleaning up the Banshees was such a huge win for JimRising. And again, as you were saying, it's going to be 3 SCVs to 25 drones. Still a couple of Zerglings wreaking havoc over in the main base. I mean, you have a starport that's still lifted off and burning down. What kind of situation is Maker in? He's actually going to have to make the biggest miracles of his life happen with these Banshees.
Well, he has the miracle that is the mule, so...
Ooh, that is true.
His economy is going to be fine.
Indeed it is. At least for a little bit, but I mean, still, you want to actually have some SCVs. It's nice, again, that he has those 3 command centers to throw down the mules. But, I mean, this is still a very awkward situation. I mean, you have these 2 Banshees. They're going to come in over here. How many Queens are actually left over? 2 Banshees can actually take on a Queen quite easily.
There's only 1 Queen. 2 are in production. Man. But right now, just the 1.
Well, Sporecaller going to help out a little bit, and he's going to end up losing this Gas Geyser, which is kind of annoying, but honestly, better to lose a Gas Geyser than to lose a bunch of your drones in the middle line. So I think that JimRising going to be okay with that trade for now.
Yeah, the Spore Crawler was just out of range of that, but he's got to be careful not to lose these Queens. It's really coming down to the creep spread, not connecting the natural and the main as well.
Yeah, and looks like the Queen count is now high enough to try and ward off those Banshees, and that's going to be a really nice win for JimRising. He has to still be careful, though, because if those Banshees actually decide to go back in and one of the Queens is just maybe a little bit isolated, maybe he's sitting at the wrong angle, a lot of damage can be done. It's like, God, I like that he's true. I don't like that he lost a Banshee, but I like that he's still trying to be active and try and do as much damage as he can with these Banshees still.
Well, the Banshees are slowly getting phased out of this game. They were good. They definitely did their damage. But at this point in the game, he's got to go for an economic center. You can see he's back up to 26 workers, so he's doing fine on that count. This Banshee has already earned 7 kills, so it's allowing him to get these Widowmines in position, which is exactly what he wants to do. Unfortunately, there is an Overseer, and the Spine Crawler is going to finish building, so it looks like these Widowmines not going to be quite as effective as he would have liked. Oh, that was a total bust.
Yeah, 1 Queen gets taken out, but honestly, not worth it for how much he kind of invested to try and do a little bit more damage over there. I mean, he ended up losing his Banshee, ended up losing most of his Widowmines. I mean, the Widowmines are still running around in the main base, but they do end up getting cleaned up finally. At the end of all this, I mean, Shaft, where do you think we're sitting right now? He's done some okay damage. He's kind of been very annoying to JimRising, but I'm a little bit concerned that Maker is just not at the same economic... Well, yeah, I don't know if he's at the same economic position as JimRising is.
He isn't, Jim has that third. Maker has sacrificed map control with these constant aggression. He sacrificed a lot of units in that last engagement, particularly. Had he not done that last engagement to be able to punish Jim for this third somewhat, right now he's just going to have to sit on 2 bases. Hope he can get a third. You know, he can build the third, get SCVs and such out of it, which, you know, that's exactly what he's doing right now. But he can't float it over until he's got the map control to contest JimRising. Now, JimRising's got 6 mutalisks. He's not overcommitting. He's mostly sitting on upgrades, and he wants to poke, find any kind of vulnerability here. And, you know, he is going to find one. Supply depot, burning down.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, Shaft, right now, 6 mutalisks is all he can really afford. He's been sitting on 2 bases worth of gas for such a long period of time, and he's had to invest a lot of his gas into those roaches, so he didn't really get the chance to build up a lot of gas. So he's going to be able to do a little bit of nice harassment, but I think that he really does want to try and build up that mutalisks count as high as possible, and Family Nest is coming out, but it looks like Maker wants to actually make some a little bit of aggression happen right now, and I'm a little bit concerned because JimRising, he's not going to have time to get up that Baneling Nest.
No, it is definitely going to be cutting it close. It's halfway done, almost 3/4 of the way done now. Spine crawlers are going to be able to buy some time. These medevacs heal so much. It's all going to come down to how quickly you can eliminate the medevacs.
Oh man, JimRising has to be so careful with those beetles. He doesn't want to be losing those, but a lot of Zergers are actually about to pop out in the natural expansion and the main base. It looks like JimRising going to take the fight, but he's losing all of his beetles. The beetles are falling so rapidly in Shaft. This is not the kind of engagement that JimRising wants to be taking with these mutalisks.
No, once you get the low numbers of Marines with medevacs, no matter how many mutalisks you have, unless it's like 20 or 30 of them, you're just not going to win that battle. The medevacs heal too quickly for a low number of mutalisks to do much of anything against Marines. The stim pack is just too good. You have to have at least Lings there to soak some of the damage or deal some of the damage.
Yeah, you definitely want those in the mix. Now, we do have a lot more Banelings starting to get made right now, and they're going to be able to help out against these Marines. Ooh, we have double medevacs loading up with... Oh, okay. Looks like he's just elevatoring up over to the high ground. Actually, that's actually a really subtle but really nice thing to do, and Banelings are going to be coming out over here, but, I mean, they're not on creep anymore. They're going to have a hard time getting the real big connections that they want.
I think Jim is in his death throes. He is continuing to try to engage these low number of Marines, and the splits here.
Oh my god. Those
Wow.
were some 6 splits.
Indeed. You have to wonder, was he just like individually clicking Marines and like, you know, click how
That is like actually the commander, like he has like 7, he's holding 7 cell phones, and it's like, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. And he's like just APM typing to all of his Marines and like texting them messages and saying like, okay, I want you to stand over here. Like that kind of level of micro, really awesome to see. And it makes a huge difference because every Baneling that JimRising is making right now is a little bit painful to do because, I mean,
it cuts into his mute account.
Exactly. It's his gas, and every single mutals that actually JimRising loses to these Marine on mutals engagements is also really painful.
If you take a look at the Shift L tab, it speaks volumes. 14 mutalisks lost, 2 Banelings lost, 13 roaches lost, 93 Zerglings lost. This third base has fallen, and the elevator dropped right on into the main.
And at the exact right time, and look at this, Maker's actually already a little bit pre-split. He will be able to deal with those mutals, or actually it looks like the Baneling's not even going to be able to come in. GG gets called, and Maker going to be taking game number 1.
Dude, this was so back and forth. Maker going in very strong in the beginning, makes some key errors. Jim able to take an advantage going into the mid game. Slowly but surely, Maker goes from, what was it, 3 workers to like 27 workers. And then,
that was impressive.
Yeah, and then manages to flip it entirely. Well, wait, he loses another army, gives over map control, and then regains momentum again. Oh my god, dude. It has been years since I've seen a game like that.
And you know, I have to really hand it to Maker because he did a really good job analyzing, and I have to say, this is really, really hard to do. So a lot of props to actually Maker, because it's not easy to make this kind of analysis in the middle of the game when you're playing it. You're the one playing it, you don't even have like all the vision and all the information that we do as casters or observers or viewers. So Maker correctly identified, okay, look, here's the situation. My opponent is sitting on 2 bases. He delayed his third for a really long time, also delayed his economy a little bit. And my Banshees also killed off a lot of queens. So his production and his economy are actually not booming an enormous amount. What I do have, even though I don't have a lot of SCVs, I have a good number of production facilities, and I have triple CCs, which means I can get a lot of, as you were saying earlier in the game, Shaft, a lot of fuels, which means a lot of minerals. What unit costs purely minerals and has a lot of potential if you micro them right?
SCVs.
SCV pulls, yeah, no, Marines though. And he did a great job. He made a ton of Marines. He said, I'm gonna make as many Marines as possible. And once he had those Marines out, he would just try to be as cost effective with them as possible, made sure he was getting the best splits off he possibly could, constantly pressuring his opponent with those Marines because he knew he had the mules to remake them. He knew that he was just needed to buy himself time and put on enough pressure to make sure that JimRising didn't spiral out of control. Well, he got his SCV count back up there, and it worked beautifully. That was so well executed by Maker.
Exactly. So we're going into game number 2 on Daedalus Point. What do you anticipate?
Oh man, Daedalus Point is a really interesting map. I used to love to talk about it as like, well, Daedalus Point has these 2 big features. It's a pretty big map, so there's a long distance between your main base and your natural expansion, and then there was this big ramp, but then they made the ramp smaller, so now I only have one talking point about it.
Well, the ramp's still pretty huge though.
Yeah, that is true. It is still pretty big, and the reason why that kind of factors in is it's very, very difficult for Zerg players to do that kind of thing that you sometimes see them do, where they go for like those kind of double evolution chamber plus a roach warren wall off to keep the Hellions out, and they sort of, you know, sit around on just 2 base for a little bit. Sometimes they actually take the third, but they're like, what are Hellions gonna do against like a building? It's gonna take them forever to burn that down.
Right.
So that kind of style becomes a little bit more difficult. You really have to rely on a lot of speedlings, or I guess maybe even potentially much earlier roaches in larger numbers to really deal with those kind of Hellion run dies.
I have to ask though, in what parallel universe do Hellions, which spit fire, not do great damage against buildings?
The one where actually the Hellions, they're not just spitting out fire. They actually have Reapers from Wings of Liberty piloting them. And the Reapers are throwing the concussive grenades out from like the window of the Hellion, and then the Hellion is just like the actual vehicle is burning up the grenade, and it explodes preemptively and actually does splash damage to the building. That is the universe. This is the B universe that we want to see, Shaft. I want to see this happen in a custom map. Somebody has to make this.
Custom map or ... Legacy of the Wolf.
Oh man.
Man, I can't wait to see what changes are going to come for that. Like, it's what, a year away now?
Well, a year away in Blizzard time, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. Of course, if we're talking StarCraft time, that's only like 8 months.
That is true, man. I mean, it does move faster, apparently. I mean, we live in a faster time zone in
Map
Star.
intros. Alrighty guys, this is game number 2 here on the bottom right hand side of Daedalus Point. He is currently down 1 game, but he is my favorite Zerg player of all time to watch. I'm currently rooting for him. He's our red Zergy McFerguson representing Chaos Latin Gamers. None other than JimRising!
And his opponent, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, Daedalus Point, as the orange Terran player took that last game with some absolutely sick micro and some really amazing decision-making. after being in a very, very dire situation, he's going to be looking to take this series as fast as possible. It is going to be Maker.
So how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how BM is it to have clan tags like this?
I would say it's pretty BM. I would if it was on a BM scale, it would be like a 9.5 to 10.
All right. And on that same BM scale, from a different perspective, do you think they knew that they were both going to get to the finals so that they could even
Wait, have they been using those tags this
Yes.
entire tournament?
Yes.
That is impressive.
Yes, we were trying to figure out earlier if Jim had, or if Maker had changed teams, and then we started casting Jim like the game after that, and it was like, okay, these guys are up to something. Bracket fixing!
Oh man, but okay. Shaft, right now, we already have a couple of things coming out from both these players. We had the Reaper opening coming out from Maker. What do you think about the Reaper opening on this map?
Honestly, I think the Reaper opening on every map. The Reaper opening is defensive by offense. If a Terran does not open Reaper into Hellions, they are super vulnerable to Roachling Baneling timings. Ever since the Widowmine got nerfed, with the AoE and whatnot, they cannot hold mid-game timing attacks like the Roachling Blink. So it's through this offense, by making the Zerg react to something different, that they are able to stay alive against that.
Yeah, and I think this is a really smart decision. Now, the Reaper are going to be very annoying. It's kind of interesting that actually Maker is just sitting at the natural expansion. He was actually, he was waiting for drones to pop out, I think?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's going to go after that one drone now, and it will be made into a gas geyser, but Queen is out, 2 Reapers are around, and I don't know if you remember, Shaft, but Maker's pretty damn good with his Reapers.
Yes, he is. But Jim did get sloppy and kept moving off of creep. We'll see if he can learn from his mistakes. He pulls the Queen back. I've seen him hold this defense time and time again. He knows how, but for whatever reason, he was sloppy last time. Hopefully he'll be able to address his mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the finals. Sometimes nerves do get to you. I mean, especially when you are down a game, it can be very, very frustrating to have to try and deal with these Reapers once again, especially when you knew, oh man, these Reapers did so much damage to me last time. Now, he's doing a pretty good job so far. He actually has only lost 1 Zergling, which is honestly pretty impressive so far.
Right.
But these Reapers are still not cleaned up. Maker still has really, really good control. I mean, if there's anything we've come to see that we can expect really, really well done for Maker, it is his micro.
Absolutely, dude. And what I'm curious to see is how Jim chooses to go into his mid game. He's still getting roaches. So does he do that same timing attack? It didn't work out. So, I mean, it worked out great for him, but it turns out it didn't work out so well last game.
This is a really weird decision because it's like a mind game on multiple levels if he decides to get aggressive with it.
Well, they're teammates, so they're always practicing together. So the mind games are within mind games within mind games.
Okay, well, hold that thought, Shaft, as we do have one of the queens already fallen. The second queen is actually going to fall. Oh my god! Some really good micro once again. I mean, we've come to expect it, but still, it's catching a little bit by surprise as he takes out both of the queens. We do have a run by from JimRising, and he's doing some good damage to those Zerglings, but I have to feel like Maker's doing a little bit more right now.
Yeah, Maker has completely devastated this natural, and he's now moving right into the main, but there are roaches here to deal with this. However, there's nothing to hold the Hellion still except 2 Lings. The Lings are going to get roasted, and this leaves the drone line completely vulnerable. The roaches have completely forgot about these Hellions.
And you know what, Chef? I understand why he's just leaving with those Hellions, because he knows his roaches have already been scouted out. That means that back at home, Maker is getting up the appropriate defenses. He is getting ready for this attack, and he really needs to throw down some bunkers. I'm actually a little bit surprised that he kind of delayed throwing down the bunkers for such a long time. I mean, he doesn't have a wall in or anything. This is actually really, really scary for Maker.
Yeah, and here is the bunker, but it's way too little, way too late, and Maker getting caught a little bit with his pants down. The roaches are doing a lot of damage to these, cannot quite kite it. The Lings, of course, holding things still, but up at this ramp, the Hellions will be able to get a small advantage, but the depot wall was down, and the tech lap
stem.
Wow.
Oh my god, that is actually huge right now in the last game. Maker actually took a ton of damage from the same type of roach bust. He's losing about as many SCVs as he is right now, but at least he had Stim. At least he could be effective with those Marines. This time, JimRising not going to give him the opportunity to, and JimRising, he's not taking a ton of damage behind this one. This time, there's no Banshees that were like killing off Queens and setting him behind. No, he is just making drones. He's got up his lair tech. He's getting up a really nice and early Baneling nest. And with no Stim on the way, JimRising has complete control of this game right now.
These games have been so scrappy. 24 SCVs lost for Maker, 13 drones for JimRising. These guys are top tier players. It's not like they're losing stuff to stupid situations. No, these are top tier players in top tier situations that are just trading back and forth because that's the best that they can do. It's amazing.
It really is. I'm actually really enjoying these games, and we are getting just a little bit of lag over here, so hopefully it does iron itself out soon. And
yeah, this is our main admin. He checks out the finals, but he looks like he'll have to leave if he doesn't go ahead and drop. Now, I want to point out, once we get out of here, we'll get a nice zoom in on the mini-map, because there's something really awesome going on right now for JimRising.
Oh man, I cannot wait for the game. I'm just honestly just glad it's not me, because then that would mean that I'd have to like wait an extra 2 minutes and watch it on the stream and stuff. I'd be like, oh man, I have to watch this on the stream like 2 minutes later. I want to see this now. I'm already just like a little bit tense about it.
Yeah, Jim Gay versus Gaker equals gay.
All right.
All right, so let's get a zoom in on that mini-map. Take a look real quick. Look at this Overlord spread. He has vision of every possible attack route. Hellions are not going to sneak in on any level. Jim is making sure of that. Now, we do have the Maker's units moving out across the map. Decent creep spread here for Jim. Not quite what we've come to expect, but good enough given the scenario. What's going to happen in this attack, Robbie?
Well, a couple of SCVs have been pulled, so this is actually going to be a big investment for Maker, because you have to remember, that's literally about a third of his SCVs pulled. And we have drones being pulled over to the main base. JimRising recognizes how much damage Maker has to make with this. And oh my god, Maker doesn't have Stim. The Banelings are morphing at the top of the ramp. This could be devastating for Maker, as he does not have anywhere to run. Zerglin's coming in from behind. Banelings getting some pretty good connections. There's still some Marines and Hellions left over, though, and GG gets called. Maker gonna take the game. What?
Yeah, basically that was it for Jim. Those were all the units he had. He had no bank. Maker basically had pre-split all his units, and while those were decent Baneling connections, is not quite enough. Maker was able to take that victory, and that will be it. Jim is knocked out. Maker took the victory. Team kill.
Wow, I'm honestly just like a little bit surprised. I felt like Maker maybe could have done okay, because I mean, you have to consider, like, again, that Maker had a lot of SCVs killed off. He pulled even more of his SCVs for that attack. I'm actually just a little bit surprised that JimRising didn't try and like pull off his drones and, I don't know, just try and buy time or something, like maybe make a couple of roaches.
The DPS just isn't there. Medivacs takes so much healing.
Were there any medivacs with that push?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I completely missed them. The
drones can't do enough DPS to counteract the medevac.
That's very true. And I mean, I can't take it away from Maker. Maker played that out really well.
The Reaper Hellion stuff, man.
It really did a pretty good amount of damage, and the only thing that I was like a little bit surprised about, and I was really worried. I was like, oh, Maker, you're playing so well. You're such a good player. You just like came back from that last game. Yeah. Throw down your bunkers, man. Don't lose to this roach all in again, or like take so much damage again. But I mean, he knew how to handle it, I guess, and he just went off with the counterattack and managed to take the victory.
You have to wonder how many times that has happened to him in practice. Like, he has so confidently just stayed in those games. It was like, what? You killed all my SCVs. I have mules. GG. Like, how many times has he like done that just to know that, you know, oh, I'm not dead.
No kidding, man. But that was the finals, was it not?
Yes. So that is going to wrap up Base Wars Qualifier number 6, guys. I'm Shaft of the Clanic Casting crew. My co-caster for this evening has been FearDragon. FearDragon, I hear you have a epic new series called Breaking Out, I believe. Would you like to tell folks a little bit about that?
Yeah, Breaking Out is a show about North American StarCraft 2 players. So if you're actually interested in the North American scene at all, definitely be sure to check it out. I kind of highlight up-and-coming North American players. This week, I actually am doing Complexity Gaming's Henderless, who's seriously like an amazingly good Zerg player that people just like don't seem to respect as much as he deserves. So yeah, you can check out the show and you'll learn more about North American players. But that's over at twitch.tv/FearDragon64 or youtube.com/FearDragon64. But Jeff, where can people catch you at?
Actually, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I keep all events posted up there at TheOnlyShaft. It's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can also follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/MisusedShaft. I do educational Zerg videos, regular cast, Let's Plays. We're doing a Pokemon Black right now. It's been amazing so far. We've kind of got it structured like, you know, the anime series where it's like half an hour and every town they go to or every little adventure has its own episode. Well, that's kind of what we're doing, and each episode has its own name. So it's kind of fun, kind of cool, just a little change of pace. And let's not forget our awesome, amazing streamer observer, DrewUniverse. Can you tell us a little bit about PMS or PMS H2O and where they can check you out, Drew?
Hi guys, my name is DrewUniverse. As I said, I am with the Pandora's Mighty Soldiers clan. You can just call us PMS clan for short anytime you have trouble with the acronym there, Shafty. Thank you again for having me for this. This is a really exciting thing to do, even more so when I'm not co-casting and just doing the camera work. It's even more intense, and I'm like, the adrenaline is pumping, and I'm like, I gotta keep clicking correctly. This is wonderful here, but for the PMS stuff, yes, you can find us over at pmsclan.com. We have a forum link right on the front of our page there, and if you're interested in us, you know, you can check out our community and see what we're up to. We're entering tournaments, trying to get our name back into the SE2 scene. We are on the upswing of a member activity as well, so, you know, like I tell my guys and I tell the whole clan, the time is now for everyone to get together and mingle and make some good StarCraft stuff happen. So thanks again for the shout-out opportunity. We're actually going back to our practice session right now, and that's what I'll be doing for the rest of the night.
Yeah, where can you said the practice sessions are open to the public, right?
That's correct. You can find us in the open public group on StarCraft. It should be called PMS H2O Recruits, and from there you can just see our member list. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 Central is when we usually have our practices. I don't remember the last time we didn't have one regularly scheduled. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 Central Daylight Time, with Daylight Savings Time now, of course. And we usually run anywhere between 1.5 to up to 3, even 4 hours sometimes. They just keep on playing. So by the end of the night, we're still doing ladder, or maybe, you know, we'll sneak in one arcade game. But, you know, this is a good set of people, good culture, good group. And we try to make sure we promote any other group as well who shares the same values. So thanks again for the shout outs, and we're going to get on with that stuff right now over there.
Alrighty, well guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I'm Shaft of the Penny Casting Crew. Please check out all of our myriad affiliate links. If you want to show us some support, share them with your friends, tell people, you know, just what you thought of this cast, give us all the feedback you can. And as always, thanks for being awesome. Bye-bye, guys.